Well, hello, friends, new design additions, future pets and victims of mine, and yes, graduates. I'm Cindy Allen, Editor-in-Chief of Interior Design, and I am here on behalf of your future. I lead a media brand that has a long and storied past of featuring, representing, and most of all, supporting the entire design industry. Your destination, incidentally, and a place I look forward to you joining as speedy as possible. So, no change in my billing then, but a big change in location for this commencement speech. I know, it's weird. Mine and yours. I was really looking forward to meeting you all, seeing you in your cap and gowns, enjoying your beautiful smiles, and yet I'm home, sheltering in place, not far from New York City, and hopefully you are home watching with your family. Now, we all can imagine we are together as one. I'll try. Will you? Good. First, let me give you a big shout out for responding to this crisis by staying in, being socially responsible, and doing the right thing by limiting the devastating spread of this pandemic. Well done. By the way, that was problem solving, and you all behaved like card-carrying designers already. I know, however, it came as a huge sacrifice to you, and I'm very sorry. This unexpected part of the curriculum, to say the least, has hindered your studies in the weirdest way. Some of you may even fear that your graduation year could acquire a slightly tarnished, perhaps modest intellectual reputation because of this catastrophe. Well, let me assure you that will not come to pass. Your upper education and training is of colossal importance, of course. Now, I would rate myself as a chief cheerleader of your academics, your professors, counselors, and of your learning. But the last few months have changed everything. You entered your year with plans and expectations that now have been turned completely on their heads. Your future may seem not quite as clear, but consider this. Something else also happened just as astonishing. Almost overnight, you all have become men and women. You all had to deal with matters of life and death, literally. You grew up. As such, now you and I are now peers, not merely students to whom I would impart scattered tidbits from my bag of tricks, but rather fellow travelers of mine with whom I want to share some essentials of my history, my experience, and some ideas that I trust may come of good use as you all choose your forks on the road and work your way forward. So, guess what? Just like you, my entire career, in retrospect, was also framed by another heartbreaking crisis. I started my shift in the wheelhouse almost 2 decades ago, literally in and under the cloud of a horrific event. You see, my very first issue as editor-in-chief was the September one. Traditionally for Interior Design magazine, we celebrate all things New York. So imagine this, sending the issue to press, a hot pink and green cover with 2 papier-mâché heads on a desk and a cover line that read, Greater New York. And then 9/11 happened. It was the September 2001 issue. I immediately had to put a black sheet tipped on the cover of my debut issue. And that was actually my first true act as leader. The world changed that day, and I grew up. It strengthened my resolve to always be part of the solution, to care and protect this community and help it thrive again. For me, it was then, just like for you, it's now. My future was shaped by that time. My life commitment became urgently clear: to be of service, to help, be supportive, contribute, call it what you please, That became my MO throughout my career, and it served me well, exceedingly well. Not the devil wears Prada kind of editor, actually the very opposite. Being of service granted me access everywhere. It allowed me to first personally prosper, but more importantly, it opened up all windows to my worldwide view and grasp of one of the most exciting dimensions there is: design. Design and the kingdom of creativity. So I ask you, how will this change you? Now, before you answer, I want to give you an overview of our universe and the business you're entering in, a super quick state of the union, so to speak. At the high end of the market, there are roughly 112,000 designers in the land, plus you now. And if you plan on going to a big firm, there are about 33,700 design firms. And here's the powerful stuff. Last year, almost $78 billion of product was specified. That is seriously huge moolah. Yes, the industry is going to shift, but wherever the changes may be, design will persevere. Design will get on the other side of this to move us forward. And those numbers I just gave you will be the ceiling you will all smash through. You can bet on it. As of now, the largest category in design is workplace, followed by residential and then hospitality, with all three categories completely intertwined. And this will continue with more relaxed workplace environments, even more hospitality-style amenities in the office, and of course, entirely new work-from-home solutions. By the way, I have some post-COVID news. I was just chatting with a design firm that finished a gorgeous project I just recently published, had an entire floor of amenity spaces, and they told me that had this disaster occurred earlier, the client would have surely taken out even an additional floor. Think about that as trend. Interestingly enough, number 4 on the list, but catching up hard and fast as I speak, is health and wellness. Now, because of the crisis, this category of our trade will be integrated in some shape or form in almost every project moving forward. Now, I also know there are graduates in landscape architecture listening. Well, sustainability and bringing nature in our lives will continue to be a driving force, and probably a huge bevy of projects will be landing on my desk. So prepare to be kings and queens. Now, speaking of projects, I must have reviewed and become very acquainted with somewhere in the neighborhood of 40,000 projects so far. That's a whole lot of architects and designers, products and sources, and places from all around the world. You know, I never cared a hoot if it was architecture or interiors, landscape or products, only that it moved the needle forward and moved me. So how are you going to do that? You will always need to fill up to the rim with what's going on in design, what's going on in the arts, and the world around you. Stay current and learn from the past. During my tenure, I was lucky enough to celebrate the 75th anniversary of interior design. And for that occasion, I had to literally dig into the history of the publication. I was going through decades and decades of these beautiful green leather-bound issues. What an incredible, priceless education for me and my team. So build a community around you wherever you end up and learn from its members. Collaborate. Be supportive of one another. And I can't say it enough, find design idols to follow and learn from their past, whether online, on Instagram, broadcast, podcasts, or how about a book or two. You will hugely benefit and progress by digging into the perspectives of those you admire, because knowledge is good. On the latter, since day one, there has also been a fundamental constant in my life, possibly the biggest ingredient of my own secret sauce, and that is being good. Not being good at what we do, because all of us are like amazing, let's face it. I mean good as in virtuosity, morality, integrity, those other words that define goodness. I mean good that breaks down barriers and brings people together, makes friends, and then makes partners, that in turn makes things work better and makes money. Yes, you heard right. But it's not vulgarity. I mean, it's crazy. We sometimes forget how profitable being good is. Goodness solves problems, builds bridges, fosters consensus, creates communities. Being honest and true to yourself will engage your energies, sharpen your wits, and increase your talent. And since talent is our living, goodness creates wealth. Wealth of all kinds, creativity, productivity, and yes, currency. So listen to what your mother always said, and now me, because I do know a thing or two about this. Be good. It is an absolute position of strength and a great investment in yourself. Which brings me squarely back to the main subject in this picture, you. Shortly, something else will happen in your lives just as astonishing. Between now and maybe finishing your first real-life project, you'll wake up one morning to realize your inner voice that had you choose design all along was right. You have the soul of a maker. You are that creator who conjures from thin air. You are that builder who raises from the ground. And that morning is when you will become intimately acquainted with the twin of goodness, and that's positivity. Now, as designers, you'll always say yes to a challenge filled to the brim with that can-do spirit. Move steadily ahead when others just sit back and grab a chair. That's part and parcel for our lot. You might as well get used to it and go with the flow. Positivity and liberal amounts of goodness, of course, was the very reason that with the snap of a finger, almost 100 design firms and manufacturers immediately started producing face masks for those in need. And that's only the ones I know about. You hear the call and you answer. Now, I can't possibly count, let alone retell, the gazillion unique moments, anecdotes, and tales, and even dramas and comedies my career has gifted me with. Should the craft choose you, and I'm pretty sure it has, the very same will be waiting for you. Whatever field or scale you select, big as a city or small as a spoon, your creative commitment will enrich you in multiple and unexpected ways. Without question, it will be a powerful engine for your development, and at some, a truly anti-gravity thrust for your life. So, my answer is no. There is no chance for modest expectations here. My past, my experience, my know-how, and my heart all tell me you, the class of 2020, will be a class of leaders, at one destined to overcome and excel. You'll learn to endure because the near future will be hard. But that will only add to your skills, abilities, and talents, and your stature will only rise. It certainly did for me. So, now, let me congratulate each and every one of you and welcome you into our industry, to our beloved design industry. Go forth, change the world. We believe in you, and we're all cheering you on. And me, I am at the front of the line. So proud of you.